I'm just pleased, happy to be here with Coach Phenicie. He's done a great job for the Bengal program. Came in under some less than ideal circumstances and less than ideal timing, and has performed pretty well. Yeah, you can laugh about that as well. All of that said, in consultation with President Bayless, I've offered Coach Phenicie a 3-year contract extension beyond this year, and we're very excited with that. We haven't worked out any of the details of that contract right now. Coach Phenicie's got more important things to worry about, and I would hate to be a distraction. So we'll let him deal with the team and coaching and strategizing and all of those things, and we'll work on all of that at the end of the season, and then put together a contract and take it to the State Board of Education in December for their approval.
Awesome.
Congrats, Coach.
Thanks.
Just verbal at this point then, or?
Yeah.
Jeff, what were the characteristics that you saw in Rob that made you think, okay, this is going to work out long term, and this is the right thing to do right now? I see Rob is actually blushing a little bit, which is kind of funny.
You know what? This is not a typical one, but it was in the first week and a half of Coach Phenicie being here, learning that his assistant coaches actually had personalities. Because Coach Fenn said, "You've been hired for a reason. Go and coach. Go and be you." I didn't think David Fiafia had said more than 2 words to me in the previous year, and then he took over a team meeting, and my jaw dropped. And I think Coach Phenicie has found a way to do that, to help his coaches become, more than they have been before, and to use that as a catalytic effect for the team to find success. And I love that from day one. I talked with Steve about that all the time. And then you see the way that the players respond to him. They want to win for Coach Fenn. I mean, we didn't have the outcome that we wanted with Northern Colorado, but at Northern Colorado, I saw guys walking up and down the sideline on the team going up to Coach Fenn the whole game. "Coach, we got it. Coach, we got you. Coach, we got your back. Coach, we're going to do this." Offense would struggle and defense would be there saying it. Defense would struggle and offense would be there, and you love seeing that. Love seeing that. That's a great sign of the future for our program.
When did you decide you wanted to extend this contract?
It was a couple weeks ago.
So was that the moment? Was that seeing the team with him at Cal Poly, or was there just a build-up?
No, it was a build-up, yeah. Yeah, I can't say that there was an exact moment, but President Bayless and I were talking about this a few weeks ago.
And so a few weeks ago, that's kind of when it started. That's when you started really getting serious and saying, "Hey, I want to sign this. I want to extend this guy's contract. What can we do?" Or how do those talks kind of go?
Yeah, that's what it goes with the president. There's State Board of Education policy, and I'm never up to date on all of those things, and just want to make sure that we do right by my president's boss and by the policies of the state.
And so just it's kind of been mentioned, it sounds like, throughout our meeting here, but I guess over the course of the season, you've just seen it just kind of your confidence and your trust in him is just kind of built up, and there's not been one thing or one moment that kind of.
Correct, and I wouldn't say it started in the fall. It started in the spring,
Mm-hmm.
Spring and summer and fall. It's been a good timeline.
How much does the fact that he's already doubled the win total from last season? How big a role did that play in this decision?
That's great, and that's an important part of the decision. But we were talking about this a few weeks ago as well, so we hadn't gotten to this point yet.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to ask Coach, I know in the spring, Coach, when we talked, did some interviews at practice, this was never a big deal for you, the contract situation. It wasn't a priority. You were just trying to get your feet on the ground. But when all this came about, what was your reaction? How did you feel about it?
The first thing, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I told the president the other day, I said, I'd do this for I'd do it for what I'm making now. And I said, what's more important to me is watching the kids in the locker room smile and and sing the fight song and have a good time and just enjoy football. And that's the biggest thing with all this. I think it's good that moving forward, the kids that we recruit will know who their head coach will be the next few years, and that's a big deal. So other schools can't come into a kid's home and say, well, you don't know who your coach is going to be. Well, yeah, they do. So that's part of this. It's really nice. But I said the biggest thing is I just want to see the kids smile and have fun after the last couple of years. I do. It's great. We have fun time in the locker room after the game.
What was your wife's reaction? Just curious.
She, you know what, about the same as when I asked her opinion on when I was going to take this job, and it was, it's your decision. So she's been around this profession long enough to know, you gotta work hard still, and nothing comes easy. So she, like I said, she didn't. She you want to talk about someone that's like this? She don't do that. I mean, she is right here, and sometimes she's right here, but most of the time she, and so sure she's excited.
Oh, it gives you some stability.
Yeah, it's nice. Well, we both love Pocatello, love the city, love the school, like our neighborhood a bunch. I mean, it's a great place to live, so it's awesome. And like the kids too.
Rob, as kind of the season has gone on from the spring until now, I mean, are there ever moments, I guess, how much weight was on your mind of I'm coaching for a new contract, I'm coaching to stay here? It's always I use the term, you got to coach in fear. You always coach in fear of in fear of losing your job, and I didn't worry about that at all. All I felt was I would try to do my absolute best in the best way I felt possible, and let everything sort itself out. There's nothing I could do to control that. What I try to control what I can control, and that is what goes on the field on Saturday, and what type of kids that we produce for the society and for the community and all that. Teach them, come in as kids, hopefully leave men and all that. But the whole worried about something like this in the back of your mind, it never was in the back of my mind, because I was always just going to do my best, and if my best was good enough, then it'd work out, and if not, then that's the way it was going to be. Is it gratifying now to get this new deal? Is it relief? I guess. What are some of the kind of?
It's I don't know, just kind of like I am after we win a game. I'm just like, on to the next thing. Okay, good. That's something that we don't have to worry about now. Something, just get on to recruiting after the season and developing this team to go further. So that's kind of where I am with it.
Obviously, you told the guys. What were their reactions?
Actually, I haven't told. These are the first two to find out. Actually, this is because and Jeff just brought this up to me this morning. So it's all relatively new.
How do you keep this rolling now? I mean, you've won 4 games this year. How do you build for the future?
It's all recruiting. I mean, you got to recruit. You got to bring the kids that'll fit into the community here, fit in with the school, fit in with our plan, and that's important to do that, and say continue to produce the best product on the field we can put out there.
Do you have I don't know what your relationship is with some D1 coaches. I know some of FCS recruiting is those relationships, so you can get kind of the second, third string guys from some of the bigger schools.
Well, that's in terms of like drop downs.
Yeah.
A kid that's a drop down there's a lot to it. They have to really fit. We just played a team that had 4 drop down starters in their secondary, and you saw the results. There's team chemistry that matters as well. So you don't just go and bring all bunch of transfers in like that. You got to have someone that fits your program and fits what you want to do recruiting wise.
Jeff, with this new deal for Rob, does that translate to any of the assistants getting new deals, or are they all just going to stay under their same contracts they're currently under?
Yeah, they all have contracts, as all employees on there on year-to-year contracts. The assistant coaches' contracts end first week of January, somewhere that time frame. And then at that point, if we go down that road, that's just a conversation Rob and I will have.
Okay. Ideally, would you like to keep all the assistants?
Yep, I mean, that's our, the staff's done a great job with this team. So, and they've been very loyal. So, a good group of guys to work with.
With President Bayless on his way out, obviously, I mean, even though there's going to be a new president in here, that doesn't have any effect on these negotiations. I mean, it's between you and Bayless and the state board at this point.
It is, yes.
Okay.
Anything else pertaining to this? Okay, we'll let Jeff.
Thanks, sir.
We'll talk Montana
Thank you.
State.
Thanks, Jeff.
I assume Mitch and Mario have tweeted it out. It's out there right now.
No phones in here.
Oh, that's right.
Mitch is probably crying now. I get to be the receiver coach for 3 more years.
Like, oh, it's
All right, well, let's get on to the Bobbies. Love the Bobbies. Go ahead. First of all, here's what I want to do. I want to congratulate Mitch Gueller. I guess I just found out he was Big Sky Offensive Player of the Week. Okay, but here's the deal. Okay, sure, he can be the Big Sky Player of the Week. He was not the Bengals Player of the Week. That was Ty Flanagan. You may be good enough to get Big Sky Player of the Week. He wasn't good enough to get the Bengals Player of the Week. So Ty Flanagan was our Offensive Player of the Week anyways.
So what decides who gets the ISU Offensive Player of the Week?
Sitting right here. The guy that ran over some dudes and going into the end zone. So no, as an offensive staff, we look at the whole game and all that, and Mitch was deserving of. There was a number of guys. James Madison could have, Mikey could have. There's a number of guys, but I guess when you get the splashy 97-yarder, that looks good for everybody. So even though he got a minus on the play for catching it with one hand, but you can address that with him.
Any other takeaways from Saturday's game?
No, just the kids responded, and it was one of the most physical games from the Montana or Idaho State side that I've ever been around. Just they responded from the Sac State game and answered the bell and came out and it was fun to watch.
Rob, I don't remember if I may have asked you this on the postgame or not, but you guys, it's a long season. You've played so many close games this year. How did it impact the team mentally to have a terrific offensive game, a blowout in essence? I mean, is that kind of like a relief for everybody?
No, we tell them, you guys go and we'll pull you off. So they don't know what the score is. They just go, don't look at the scoreboard, and we'll pull you off. And we'll either pull you off when it's time or pull you off when it's 0-0-0-0. So we expect the same level of effort, whether we're down 30 or we're up 30. It's got to be the same. There's only one way to go. That's fast.
Offensively, after looking at the tape, what were you guys doing so well?
We just executed and played extremely hard, and it was just one of those games. You got the human element every week. You don't know how it's going to be, and like I said, it was a physical game played by the Bengals.
Montana State, I'm assuming if everybody, Montana State coach, you were looking at tape.
Yep.
They had
Saturday night.
That was a terrific game at Northern Colorado.
It's a heck of a
for
game.
them.
Yeah.
What do you see out of them this year?
They are a very well coached team. They're going to be a year in and year out. Montana State is a tough group of guys. They're always that's just the type of teams that they've had. And I'm going back to Cal State Northridge when we were playing them. They're going to be Ty Gregorak, their defensive coordinator, who worked for 7 years with that Montana, and he's a really close friend of mine. He coaches a very sound defense. They're going to be they're going to be in the right spot. They're not going to bust assignments. They're not going to cut receivers loose, and they're going to tackle well. And that's the type of he's a very passionate coach that those kids will play for, and so they're going to be very emotional. It'll be fun, and Coach Choate, that whole team, like I said, they just play really hard. Their offensive scheme is very difficult to handle. It's another in a line of all these Big Sky offenses that you're going against, and you got to play. As I say every week, with great eyes and great assignment. You got to get lined up, you got to stay lined up, and you got to play sound.
One thing, Coach, that seems to be a little different this year, their quarterback, he's got a little more experience under his belt. He's leading them in rushing. He's averaging about 112 yards a game, but now he's actually throwing the ball more. He's more of a dual threat quarterback, right? Yeah,
he's leading the conference in rushing. He's a returning freshman of the year. So he is a lot of their offense, and you got to really do a good job with him. So,
any similarities between Montana State and anyone else you've faced this season?
Not this season. No, they're just a different element. They're gonna do some option things, as they do some zone read things, but it's just different. There may be some similarities to some formations that they do, but it's just another. I was watching film with Matt Troxel this morning, and we were looking at some things that teams were doing to Montana State, and I just said, man, I'd hate to coach defense, because you got to deal with getting lined up, this formation, that from, and it's so hard in this conference because everyone is so diverse that I said it's just a tough thing to do. So.
And for the third game in a row, your defense is tasked with kind of defending a quarterback who runs a lot.
Yeah.
I know you're not on the defensive side, but what challenges does that give the defense?
Just like I think I may have said with Kevin Thompson and then with Portland State, is when a team has a quarterback running game, that gives them a +1 in a run situation. And what you try to do defensively is line up in a +1 situation, but that's usually when you don't count the quarterback. That means if they're in a tight end, 3 wides, you get 7 men near the ball. If they're in 2 back or 2 tights, you try to get 8 men. You try to +1, but when you got a quarterback run game, that neutralizes it. So you have to adjust accordingly. It's a tough deal. It's not fun.
Rob, you've been in that location a lot. Actually, Saturday will be the first time I will be in Bozeman for football. What is the atmosphere like in that stadium? I mean, everybody talks about Montana and their fans, but from what I understand, Montana State is pretty fanatical too, as far as their fan base.
And they've done a great job lately. It's a fun place to play. It's a beautiful stadium. It's about 20,000, and the fans are good. The student section is awesome. They yell and scream at you in pregame. It's great. They make fun of you like a student section should, and at an opposing stadium. It's a great atmosphere. It's a great Big Sky atmosphere for college football, and it's a 1:30 kickoff. The weather's supposed to be nice. Told our kids this is what you sign up for when you want to play in the Big Sky, is a game like this, where day game at one of the nicest places to play in the conference.
Is it a loud venue?
Yes, it can get loud, and especially since they enclosed the end zone. Before they didn't have the end zone closed, but it is very knowledgeable fans. They do a great job, and they know when to cheer. They know when to be quiet, and it's like I said, it's going to be a fun environment. It was really fun going there when Bobby Houck was the head coach, but boy, they were.
Yeah, you told us some of the stories.
Yeah, it was with Bobby, but it won't be that. We're not those guys coming in there, but still, it's a great place to play.
Who's your daughter gonna root for in this one?
Well, she has to wear a band uniform, but she's asked me to. She doesn't want to talk about anything. So
Really?
yeah, she wants to. She just wants to do her thing, but she has to wear a band uniform. But her boyfriend's gonna sit with my wife.
Is she a freshman out there, sophomore?
Sophomore. She's in her second year.
What does she play in the band? I'm just curious.
She's a piccolo player, a flutist. So, yeah, but no, she didn't want any attention on this. She wants to just enjoy the game.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
With that being the environment that it is, what do you guys do preparation-wise to prepare for?
Well, we practice. We're gonna go outside. These guys aren't gonna know they're gonna be like vampires and die when we're out in the sun today, I guess. All week, but no, we never practice in a stale, what we call a stale environment. That's why we play the music. The guys think the music's so they can dance around and get fired up for practice, but you do it so there's always noise and something, and rather than playing a jet engine blast for 2 hours where you have a headache after, like I've been at places for crowd noise, you just keep the music going, and that forces you to communicate and all that stuff. So it's not a stale environment there. It's awesome. So and we just that's how we prepare for it. We'll practice outside, and we'll have music and all that stuff just like we do in here.
Rob, again, I've never been there. Is it a turf field or a grass field?
They actually put new field turf in this year. So yeah, they took the grass out in 2007 and put the turf in.
Kind of going back to Murray, their quarterback. This is another situation, kind of like against Sac State, where one guy is really most of their offensive yardage. I don't know if you can speak much to the defensive standpoint, but what is that like to have to just really key in on that one guy?
It's a tough deal because you got to add, you got to, what I say, rob Peter to pay Paul. What are you going to do? You got to lighten up your pass coverage to bring another guy into the box, and that's always tough because then you're leaving players on an island, and that's no fun no matter who you play, So I say you just got to account for the quarterback in every one of your defensive calls, and that alters a lot what you do.
Defensively, what is kind of their defense?
They're going to be in a 3-4, but Ty does a great job of getting in and out of things and showing various looks. Ty Gregorak, that's their defensive coordinator. Coach Gregorak. He does a great job of varying their looks, and they don't miss tackles, and I say they play extremely hard.
Throughout the season, I've kind of talked to you about Tanner and kind of how he's improved in it. I guess what's the biggest thing? Is it that he's more consistent? Is it something mentally? What's the biggest improvement been?
No, it just he's for the most part gotten better every game. Is what you want out of every player on the team. Is do you get better every week? And he's just has shown improvement. Every week and just command of the offense. He's anticipating calls. He knows what he can more or less figure out what Coach Trox's next call is going to be just by the week of practice and then how the game's going, and he's doing a really good job with all that.
So it's more the intangible stuff that we can't see because all we see is the numbers on it.
Yeah, it's stuff that exactly. That's there. Thank you for answering it for me the right way. That's what in non-coaches speak, but yeah, just it's something that you can't get without game experience. And when you play over and over, you start to see things over and over and all that.
Kind of sack-wise, gave up. I can't remember the exact number again, in that first half against Sac State, and then over the next 6 quarters, it's just been 1 sack. What's been going on with that?
We made a protection adjustment against Sac State, but we all know how that game ended up. In this one, it was just the way the situations of the game went. We only called 9 drop back passes. And anytime you do that, you're limiting offensive linemen having to pass protect for a long amount of time. And sometimes you have games where you have a bunch of dropbacks. Sometimes you have a game where you have none. We had 9 in this, and is that a factor? Yeah, but there's some other things. As I said against Sac State, why did we get our 3rd downs? Well, it was execution. Well, we just executed. There's a human element every weekend, and You don't know how, these kids are 19, 18 to 22-year-olds. You don't know how they're going to react all the time, in various situations.
Offensively, kind of as a whole, when you look across Big Sky leaderboards and national leaderboards, I mean, you see Mitch and Tanner and Ty and Mikey and all these guys up there, and I don't know, it must be nice for you, given that you're an offensive guy, to just see your weapons kind of getting the pub that.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I would much rather be 5-1 or whatever we should be. What are we? How many are we 4-4? I'd rather be 7-1 or 6-2 right now over all that. But it's good to get some recognition along those lines. But once again, the bottom line is 4-4. We'd rather be 6-2. We would rather be 4-1 in conference right now. And I would take 100 yards off of everything in order to be there.
I guess, guys, congrats on the win. It looked like you guys were having a lot of fun out there, just because of the way the game was playing out. Like I'd asked Coach earlier, you've been in so many close games this year. It had to be kind of a relief for everybody, wasn't it?
Definitely it was. Just like he was saying, when we execute, we never give up. That was the big thing about this team this year. We have a lot of leaders and a lot of guys that believe in Coach Finn, as a whole, and believe as our team. And when we were down, we always got back up, and we always, every time they scored a touchdown, Mitch would come over to me like, hey, get us one back. And we were like, hey, I got you. We got you. We're going to get you a 3-and-out. We're going to get you a turnover, get you guys back on the field. So, we just all believe in each other. I think that's the biggest difference in that, and it makes us want to play even harder for each other. So,
any reaction to hearing the news that he's, I guess, agreed to this 3-year deal?
I think that's awesome. And just having time left and being able to work with Coach for a couple more years is really exciting, and for the future of our team and our program, I think it's really should be an exciting time for us all.
What has it been like to play for him for these? Well, I guess you've had him for a couple years offensively, but as a head coach since March or April, what differences have there been?
Personally, on the offensive side, I feel like we just have guys buying in and people that want to make plays and do everything they can, within their role to help the program out. And I think that doing that really, lends itself to success going forward.
What is he like as a head coach?
it's great. Puts a smile on my face just because when you see his face, he always cracks a joke or a movie quote or something, just something. And it's always something different with him, but it's always something great different. And he's just a great person to be around. He's a great coach in general, and we're lucky to have him. And these guys are lucky to have him for even more years to come, forever, how long that was. But no, he's just a great guy in general. I don't have him as much, but when I see him, it's just it's mutual. It's a mutual kind of respect.
Up in the booth, we're not really focused on Rob, but on the sidelines, does he get emotional and stuff? Can he get a little bit crazy?
Yeah, I think it's an emotional game. So everybody has their, they're going to show their emotions at some point, and Coach Fenn's no different. But we kind of expect that, and when we hold ourselves accountable and we want to win, we need that type of energy and excitement and passion from a head coach.
Normal people, Madison and I can't do what you guys do, okay? Let's get that straight from the get-go. But Mitch, on that 97-yard pass, what goes through your mind on a play like that? Do you when it's all said and done, do you kind of go did I just do that? Mentally, talk to me about that end of it.
Yeah, in the moment, it all happens so fast. You don't really have time to think about it. But in the time after that play, I've been able to see the play, and it's just really neat to be able to be out there with my brother and to do that for the team, and just trying to make plays out there, and that one happened in our favor, so it was cool.
Obviously you don't run a pass play thinking you're going to break a record, but you're now in the school history books. Is that weird? What are you feeling there?
Yeah, it's pretty surreal. It hasn't really sunk in. It's really neat, especially to have my name in there with my brother and to do that with him. And it's just cool. But more importantly, it was great to get points on the board for our team and get a lead and keep the lead. So that's cool.
Real quickly, I want to go back to March when you first heard about this coaching change. How far has this team come since Kramer retired? You hear that Rob's going to be the new coach, and now to today.
Huge changes. I think every day everyone gets better, and then you see it bi-weekly. You see it every Saturday. You see it, and Monday's practices. Everyone comes with a spark, and it's he really brings that to the table. He brings around new things during practice, new equipment, just new things in the locker room, and you see a change. And for someone new to come in throughout our football team, and you see that change, it makes us feel a little bit differently, because now we actually believe that he can do everything possibly that we can, and he actually cares for us as well, not just for just the football. It's the overall aspect of us being a family, us being brothers, and us playing together. So it's actually a great feeling just in general, especially being a senior as and having him as your head coach, because sometimes it doesn't go great. New head coach comes in, everyone's like, oh, they're not going to be as great. But that's what we wanted to change. We wanted people to think that, and that's what we wanted people to think. And we came out with the spark, and he's teaching us how to be men, how to be great football players, and how to be players, and how to actually help out in the community. We love that. We, as athletes and as players, we play for the fans. The more fans are there, the louder it is, the better we're going to play. And that's how it is. We just love that. We love being in the community. We love the kids. And so he really sparked that as well during the spring and in summer. And it got more people out here. It got more people to come to our games and more speaking. And we wanted to prove everyone right that we trained hard, we believe in ourselves, and we believe in Idaho State football. And that's what he brought down to us.
You say the fans give you energy, hype you up. Well, you're going to Montana State, and we just heard that the atmosphere there is pretty crazy. What are you guys thinking about that?
Is
that going to hype you up, or does that, what is that like when you go away?
Go ahead.
We like playing with some noise.
Yeah.
I like going on the road and kind of getting in that atmosphere where you're not the crowd's favorite, and you're it's just the 60 guys that go. It's you guys out on the field, and that's it. That's the only people you have going for you. A few parents here and there, but for the most part, it's just us. And I think we thrive in those situations. We like to challenges us, but I think it's a good challenge to rise above and try and create our own energy.
Guys, you've been looking at Montana State. I talked with their coach this morning. He said they're still kind of looking for an identity, because this is only his second year as the head coach. What do you guys see out of them? From both ends of the game, from just watching them this week. They do have a winning record in conference play.
Mm-hmm. Offensive-wise, they're great. Overall, their front is, they're young, but they're still very talented in the back end. And their receiving core, and then their quarterback, he was the freshman player of the year. And he's running the ball. And that puts us linebackers at an even worse spot, because now we got a guy that can run the ball and he can throw, like you were saying earlier. But overall, they're a great offense. They're well coached, like Coach Finn was saying, and a well-coached team. I'll take that over anything. I'll take that over talent any day, because you can coach them to be even better. So that's the kind of team they are.
And offensively, for their defense, like Coach had said, they're really a sound defense. And I haven't seen a lot of film on them yet, but we will as the week goes on and get our game plan narrowed down. But they're going to be a talented team defensively, and we're going to have to bring our best on offense.
Mario, when you face a quarterback like you were saying that has that ability to run or pass, you said it makes things more difficult, but what specifically, how does your job change, or what challenges did you face with a guy like that?
I feel like, in my perspective, it's normally my doing, and it kind of just takes you out of the play. You're focusing on that guy, and it's kind of like a one-on-one in basketball or anything. Yeah, it's you and him, and he's in the backfield, you're back there, and you're basically spying him. So it's basically you're taking one guy, so it's basically almost like 10 on 10, but normally it's 10 on 11 or 11 for the defense and 10 on the offense, because you don't really count the quarterback as a dual threat. but he can run the ball. So that's basically we don't have that advantage anymore. Okay, we can take away the pass, now we can load the box or something like that. And so when you get that, it's a little harder for defenses, and so then you have to adjust. But it's not a huge adjustment. It's nice because then it speeds up the clock, it speeds up his clock. It does get him on the run. If he does run, obviously he's a leading rusher. It does. That is a huge aspect for it because now he's basically a running back, and then now he can throw the ball. So it's just kind of it's in-game adjustments, and during practices now that we know that, and he's doing that, now we know he's a dual threat. Now we have to be sound in every position, do our jobs, and just go from there.
That it? Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.